The GizFab channel is sponsored by this awesome collection of people and companies. Go give us some love. Spicy Micra merch now available. Head to GizFab.com. Go and make purchase. All proceeds help us go racing. Go do a buy. Do it now. So, good morning. Today is the start of a very special day, special journey in my life, a life-changing experience maybe. I don't mean mentally, I don't mean spiritually, I mean physically, as in the journey myself and the Micra are going to be going on today. So, I'm going to start off by saying I want to thank these lads here, specifically Mark and Luke of Howtech UK, who have given me this opportunity and invited myself and the old Spicy Micra here to compete at round 3 of the German Time Attack Masters event at Lausitzring on East Germany, which is about directly 45 minutes of East Berlin. To give you a perspective, that equals about 14 hours of continuous driving, not including the crossing. So massive shout out to them boys, because honestly, without them two, this wouldn't be happening. I can't afford to take my car abroad, and with the help from them two, Howtech and other businesses, we are making this happen, which is giving me the opportunity to take the car over to East Germany. So massively grateful for that opportunity. So yeah, we're going to be leaving here about 2 o'clock. It's currently 20 to 10 in the morning, and I've only got a few things to do to the car this morning before we go. I've just got to reassemble the splitter. There's an entirely different video on on making that splitter, and I just need to take the car back to Adam to get the front geo sorted. Other than that, we have not really touched the car. We have done a health check on the engine to make sure it's healthy. Obviously, a long way to go if the engine isn't healthy. And another minor mod that I've done, which you would have seen in the aero splitter rod, is I've put some new end plates on the wing. I will warn you, I like a travel vlog, so if you don't want to see me do 10 minutes of driving around to Germany, skip to this part of the video now, which will take you straight to the action at Lausitzring. So this is what we're taking to Germany with us. We've got the pit command centre, which has got all of our spare arms, pads and fluids and bits and bobs in. Axle stand, generator, jack, table, fuel cans, power tools. We're also taking a small generator. Spare set of wheels and tyres in the car as well. All on an official car lay, which we'll go into a bit of detail when I get on the road. So first off, I'm going to apologise about the audio. I really need to invest in one of them bike stuff, clip-on t-shirt or whatever. Unfortunately, Adam was not available to track my car, so we took it to push tyres, but leaving bushes to go back to the workshop, which is literally
200 foot, not even that. I was in first gear, went to second gear, I missed second gear. Then I tried to get a second gear, I couldn't get a second gear. So I lifted it back to the workshop in first gear, and then we put it on the lift, and then I noticed, before we got it up in the air, that when I moved the gear stick, the entire engine rocked back and forth, which immediately suggested that an engine mount was loose. And lo and behold, the 2 rear bolts that hold the rear engine out of the gearbox were completely missing. So, yeah, that was a thing. Was not happy about that because Dad had performed a full nut and bolt check yesterday morning, and he said he had checked the bolts, and obviously not checked them well enough because they physically weren't there. And then the second issue we had is that we couldn't get it on the trailer with the splitter. We've had to remove the splitter, chuck it in the back of the van. We'll have to fit that when we get to the circuit in Germany in a couple of days' time. Just gone 4 o'clock. I'm actually about 10 minutes down the road now. Let's get a bit of travel B-roll, shall we? So, good evening from the port of Harwich. So, yeah, we've got here, we've done all the customs side of things, and yeah, we're just now waiting to board to get on the said boat winnable distance. Now, I know there's going to be some questions regarding the carnet and what it's taken me to get the Micra into Europe. Got a lot of conflicting advice, even straight from the carnet office that issues my carnet. Spent about half hour on the phone with them, explained what I was doing, why I was going, who's paid for what I was taking. So I've explained, obviously, the car is in my name, so I have a valid V5 for the car, and I have a valid V5 for the van. The van and the trailer is not the issue in terms of ownership. It was mainly the car on a trailer, so depending on who you speak to, some people tell you that you need both MOT, tax and insurance on the car. Now, the carnet office that issued my carnet said that technically I don't need one. They didn't want to sell me one, and they basically said, providing I have the V5 for the car, doesn't need tax, but however it does need some form of insurance on the car, which I do have. Their advice basically was, you don't need it because it's your car, you've got a V5, it's in your name. The difficulty I was facing is that I basically said, you know, it's a full-blown race car, it's got the stickers on it, it's got the spoiler on it, it's got the splitter on it. For all purposes, if you glance at that car at a distance, it's a race car. And I just didn't want to get stopped through a port of customs. So yeah, so long story short, if you're an MSA UK member, you get a special discount on your carnet, and mine including the express fee, because literally I did this last Friday, and the carnet was only completed on Monday, and that cost me 470 quid, and that was from the Chamber of Commerce. Again, the MSA website lists all the gubbins on that. So the carnet basically is a list of stuff you're exporting from the country and importing the other side. So just to give you an example of what I've got on there is, I've got the car as the entirety, if that makes sense. So whatever's bolted to the car doesn't need to be registered individually, but like I had to declare the spare tyres, for example, because they are not bolted to the vehicle, and all the spare parts and stuff like the toolbox. Pretty much anything inside of the toolbox can be classed as the toolbox. All the things I've declared on the carnet is stuff like the gas hob that I'm taking and the gas bottle so we can cook some food at the circuit, my cameras, my GoPro cameras, and my power tools like the Makita and stuff. Any questions about it, drop a comment down below or send me an email, whatever, or if you want a separate video on the matter in a bit more detail, then I will do a set video for you, because I don't think people know, and it is conflicted advice, hence why I didn't apply for mine to the last minute. So in a minute we're going to be getting on the ferry and then making a journey across the water.
So good morning from a rather abysmal Netherlands. We've just got off the ferry, bit of broken sleep. So now we're going to southwest of Schiphol Airport to Race Running Brands. I believe we're going there to pick up a load of stock. So yeah, we're going to try and get some lovely B-roll and just get used to driving on the wrong side of the road in a right-hand drive. But I'm pretty sure we'll get used to it.
So that was an extremely quick pit stop at Race Running Brands Europe. Now, Race Running Brands now own Howtech, but they also own a lot of other companies you'll have heard of, such as Wiseco, G, Pistons, Cometic, a lot of performance-orientated brands under one umbrella. Certainly is pretty impressive there. I don't think I've ever seen so many boxes of pistons and crank bearings stacked as high as that. Very, very impressive. Now we are on our way to Germany, so yeah, more B-roll of the motorway. So welcome to East Germany, to the Decker Lausitzring. Now I've been kindly invited here by our good friends at Howtech, who are a major sponsor of the car and probably a major part of my life at this point. So yeah, we're here. It's quite late on in the day. This whole event here seems to be quite laid back compared to the UK series. So where in the UK series at 5 o'clock we would be gearing down to finish off the day, that's when the day starts here. So our first session isn't until 5:30. Then our second session, I believe, is just before 7 o'clock. So a long old day. I've actually been waiting for a break in the noise. We're right next to the drift paddock, and there's a hell of a lot of noise in the background, so I do apologise if you could hear that nonsense in the background. It's a long old drive to get here. This has been a few months in the making. We were first invited here back at round 3 of Time Attack in the UK, nestled on the fact that the Micra survived Alton Park, which it did, and as soon as this car survived Alton Park, all this was thrown in the works to get the car over here. I'm going to try and film this event in a similar format to all of the other Time Attack vlogs. The format here works a bit differently compared to UK series, so we get 2 30-minute sessions. The cars are timed by race control, but we are not allowed to be given the times. Why? I don't know. But interestingly as well, the car only has to be scrutinized in the sessions that we will be provided the results for. So, a bit odd. I say it's odd. It's just different to what we're used to. And then the qualifying works different tomorrow as well. So the qualifying tomorrow actually starts at 9 o'clock in the morning. So that's going to be interesting to get here on time. And from what I've managed to speak to the different English-speaking competitors, they don't do a 1 lap on, 1 lap off type deal like we do in the UK. So in the UK we have cool down laps. So the sort of like gentleman's agreement is you'll go do 1 fast lap. Yeah, you do a cool down lap, then you go do a fast lap again and a cool down. From what I've spoken to people here, it's basically everyone is flat out for the entire 30-minute session. So that's going to be interesting. So yeah, I'm going to go around and film a bit of B-roll for you, Neil. Nice little B-roll segment. And then we will jump into the first session of the day, and we're going to get some laps in. Don't know the format, I didn't have time to load the circuit up in any form of sim. So literally going out there blind. So let's go see what the Spicy Micra can do. So just because we're in Germany doesn't mean we're not going to get the old voiceover. Now I had plans to do something a bit different for this video, and you could probably hear me in the background speaking to myself in a helmet. I'm not nervous for some reason. Yeah, I wasn't nervous. But yeah, I tried to record a live action voiceover which was going to be used in this video. Unfortunately, it didn't plan out, so we are back to the old manual post-editing voiceover 3 months after the event happened. So just trying to collect my thoughts to give you a rundown of what happened in this event. So yeah, we're in Germany, the Lausitzring, and we're just about to start to go to our very first lap of the circuit. Now it's a long sweeping circuit, definitely favours more powerful cars rather than our UK point and squirt style of vehicle. So yeah, it's a nice wide circuit. Now one thing I have noticed is that I'm quite, reserved when it comes to track limits. Now in the UK, basically we're allowed 1 tyre on the red and white, and that's it. We're not allowed to go onto the green or anything like that, or the lap time is instantly disallowed. Man, that screamer pipes, I'm not much disallowed. So yeah, this is on the back straight. We're going to come into our braking zone into a left. Now I noticed everyone else just went straight across the red and white. Again, I'm being extremely conservative. It's a long circuit. It's, for me, minimum 2 minutes and 10 seconds for a lap, which is one long boy, especially for a dry circuit. Can't imagine how long the circuit would be if it was wet for me. So yeah, this is like the third of the long straights that we've got on the circuit, and then we go into this long sweeping right-hander. Now again, being really conservative, this is literally my first lap of the circuit. I've not even done 1 full lap onto this point. Now we're just trying to get some heat into the tyres, just because I think at this point I've gathered enough data to go, you know what, let's just go do a fast lap straight away. And then we're just coming down here into the final couple of corners. There you are, mate, get your belt straight. Now that car there is a prime example of the cars in this class. In fact, I don't think I've even mentioned yet that I've been put into Pro Class, because the German regulations means an engine swap is an instant pro class entry, and I'm just massively outclassed. But anyway, without further ado, this is our fastest lap of this session. Watch the speedo, and remember, this is a Nissan Micra. So that's the end of our very first session here at Lausitzring in the old Micra. Yeah, very different circuit. The entrance to the banking before you enter the start-finish straight is very, very, very bouncy. I maybe need to just take notice of what other people are doing with their lines. Some seem to go up to the wall. Maybe that is to avoid these pretty bad bumps at start. So other than that, the level of car out there is we're massively underpowered for that class. So I think we're just going to treat this as a little fun track day, if I'm honest. Now, one thing is kind of worrying is the overflow bottle has quite a bit of coolant in it. That was nearly empty before we went out, so I think that holds about a litre of coolant, and that's worrying, very, very, very worrying. Gotta keep an eye on the temperatures. Again, I don't want to blow it, which we'll treat this as, again, exhibition runs. So yeah, one thing I forgot is I put brand new PBS pads on this. I totally forgot. So I'm starting my first hot lap, and of course the pads have got absolutely no bite on them. So then two or three laps later, they did sort of wake up. They found the stuff, the turn, and we started to get a bit of braking force. So yeah, we're actually not long back out again. I think we're going to be called again about 30 minutes. So most of the morning and afternoon doing Sweet FA, and then they crammed it all into a couple of hours, which is nice. So what I've noticed is that was meant to be a 20-minute session. We only got 15 minutes. So I'm interpreting that as it's a 15-minute session, but allocated 20 minutes for the finish lap, the checker flag lap, to get all the cars in the pits to prepare for the next session. So yeah, we're gonna go out again in a second. Times. Time-wise, what we do, a 2:15:57, no, that's wrong. 2:14:57 with an optimal of a 2:11:81. I've got no idea how that stands competitively because we are not timed on these first sessions today. We already timed the sessions tomorrow, so let's go for our second session. So here we go for the second session of the day, starting at 6 PM at night. Absolutely bizarre. Back in the UK, the day finishes at 5. Here, it starts at 5 in the evening. Now that's going to benefit some intake air temperatures, so we're not going to complain an awful lot. Now that last session saw a bit of cooling, bubbling in the header tank down. So yeah, here we go. Just going to jump straight into the fastest lap of the second practice session on day 1. Let's go. So that's the second practice session of day over. That's it. Pretty sketchy on common corner is, but you go along the back straight and you come back on yourself. Need to clean the windscreen. There's a lot of glare of all the dust. But yeah, we've finally been scrutinised after doing that second session. This is Dominic, by the way. Where's Dominic? Hi, Dominic's down in the vlog. That's Dominic who helped me with the translation, the signing earlier. Sorry, yeah, we've just been scrutinised. So it works a bit differently here. So the practice sessions are timed, and because they're not timed, we don't really have official scrutiny, as they call it. You only need scrutineering for the actual time session. So they kind of treat it like a track day up until the final sessions. But yeah, we've got a problem. Basically, with the engine. It's pushing a lot of coolant back into the overflow bottle, which is a bit concerning. We've decided to leave it full, but it sort of sits about the level with here at the moment. So we're going to leave that until the morning to see when it cools down, it draws all that coolant back in. We've also got a massive issue with boost still. Especially on that last session, the last lap, we had a real issue with boost control. and the engine kept feel like it was holding back, but it also going like a stamp rack. Real bizarre experience. So yeah, I've not even looked at the times, but we're doing like a 2-minute 11, and I can't really push it. I can't really push any more out of it. We still need to sort the suspension setup out. So yeah, we're not going to change anything. We're just going to enjoy the atmosphere here. I mean, if you've never been here, this is absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. They've got drifting going on all day long. In between the time attack sessions, they have got drifting going on the main circuit, as well as the drift arena over there. And I believe this evening they are doing drag racing down the main strip. Absolutely, yeah, I just can't explain it. It's just like all under one roof, and it's not shit. And if you were doing JE the last couple of years, I'm running up to it. Yeah, this is a real good event. So I'm going to call that a night on this vlog, and I'll see you in the next clip in the morning.
The next morning.
Okay, so we arrived here pretty late this morning due to a bit of a cough up at the hotel last night. We didn't end up going to bed until 1:30, and you know, we were due back at the circuit at 8:30, and I was knackered. So we unfortunately missed the practice session this morning, but we are due to go up qualifying in a moment. So literally we've arrived with about 20 minutes to spare, so we're soon booted, and then we're going to get in the car, and then we're going to go do qualification.
So yes, the next morning, we're jumping straight into the one and only session we're going to be in today. Anyway, we're going straight into qualifying now. Now, qualifying here works a bit different. So you have a 15-minute open qualifying session, and the top 8 go through to the second round of qualification, and then the top 5 go through to the Super Lap finals. Now, the Super Lap finals, how it works in this series and many other time attack championships around the world, is that the Super Lap final is you get your out lap, your 1 lap, and an in lap, so you get no second chances. So if you mess up, that's it, that's your day over. Now we're not going to get that opportunity, unfortunately. We're just massively outclassed in this series with this car. So yeah, we're going to jump straight into the fastest lap of the session, and I think the fastest lap overall for the entire weekend. So yeah, let's go. So yeah, that's the qualification over. We did like a 2-minute 10, optimal of a 2-minute 8, not that it matters. We're just getting some weird boost issues, depending if we've qualified, which I need to go check in a minute actually. We're going to do it straight after the second one. But yeah, she's just doing something really weird. Most of that session, no more than like 7 psi boost, which is weird because obviously we're on a 10 psi spring, so maybe there is a hole somewhere. But we're seeing 7 psi at the throttle bodies. I don't think we have split the inlet manifold open again. What I can tell you is the engine isn't healthy. We've already spewed a lot of coolant back into the header tank, and we've just noticed this.
See, the oil is up to the telltale.
Now, in the year and a half we have been using these engines, obviously this is engine number 5, but the previous 4 engines never ever any oil into the cash tank. So she ain't happy. She's not healthy. So we're pretty sure it's air gasket at this point. I'm thinking if we do qualify, all we've got to do is reset all the fluids again, which is what we've been doing anyway, sort of limping around this weekend, and then we can go out, do a lap. But yeah, tracks are pretty cool. I've messed with suspension settings a bit, maybe handles slightly worse. The track's very bumpy, especially as you start to come onto the oval before you start to go down the main pit straight. Yeah, so I think I went for a fast lap on the very first lap that we did, and you'll notice that when we were going down the main straight, we hit the limiter in 4th gear, which was a good indication of how much power we had at the time. And then towards the end of the session, we were maybe at like 6,800 RPM down that straight, and not hitting the limiter. There's sort of like around the back end of the circuit, there's a left and right hander before you brake, before into like an S complex, before you come back out into the main straight. And previously we was the limiter bashing in 3rd gear through there, and now we're maybe sort of like brushing the limiter as we come into the braking zone. So definitely down on power. Let's before we start tearing the car apart and empty fluids, top of fluids, let's go see if we've actually qualified, to see if it's actually worthwhile making the effort.
The next morning.
So in a typical style, which I'm really frustrated with lately, is ending the vlogs. But we did the final qualification. We came back with like a 2 minutes 10 seconds, which was only good enough for 10th position out of 13 cars in class. We were 2 seconds off a BMW M2, so not bad going if you ask me. But yeah, that was it. That was the event over for us. The way the qualification works for the final is that only the top 8 go through, and obviously P10 isn't good enough for P8, and then through the P8 the top P5 of that qualification will then go through to the super lap finals. So that was pretty much our day ended. But yeah, this is actually a couple of days after that, once we got to a point of, you know, not needing to prep the car anymore. We just chilled finally. So I went round the show finally and looked at all the bits and bobs. Definitely do not regret taking a week off work to go do this. It hasn't cost me a lot of money to do this. All I've had to pay for is fuel. That's all I've had to pay for. Everything else has been paid for via Howtech and also Race Winning Brands. Race Winning Brands own Howtech. You know, without them paying for everything, this wouldn't have happened. So, you know, massive thank you to incredible sponsors, really. Obviously got Mark and Luke, Howtech UK, also Thomas from the Austrian Howtech HQ, and also Race Winning Brands as well. So yeah, as you can see, we are now back in Holland, waiting to join the ferry. Sailed through customs with our carnet document again. Absolute no issues whatsoever. So yeah, it looks like we are about to board. So I will continue this outro when we land back in the UK tomorrow morning. So see you in a second. So, good morning, related. We're back on UK soil. Was a bad start to the day, but bad start to the day. No, it's not been a bad start to the day. We just basically had a car in customs this morning. Obviously had a bee right up his arsehole. So yeah, that's it. The journey is over. Pretty sure I've already said this in the previous clip, but I can't remember what that was this time yesterday. And that is, I want to thank everyone for the opportunity for what's happened this week. Obviously Altec, RWB race winning brands, Mark, Luke, Thomas, Jerome, whoever's been involved, thank you very much. Definitely a once in a lifetime opportunity to have someone to pay for you to take your race car abroad and go do a competition event. Something I thought would never happen, you know, being an overweight 33-year-old driving a turbocharged Spicy Micra. We're not in any sort of professional capacity, so it was greatly appreciated. Probably never going to happen again. So that's why I've took a week off work, taking this opportunity to grab it and just go with it. But I have got a bit of a shit show to walk into when I get back, and that is my workload has suffered because of this. You know, I'm sure anyone would have done the same in the situation. So yeah, it's now Tuesday the 8th of August, and on Friday we are taking the car to Mallory Park to compete in the Quick 60. We're not going to repair the head gasket, we're going to take it as is. Now I know the car is a ticking time bomb in its current health, but with my workload I have not got time to do a head gasket in 3 days. So the plan is we're gonna maybe put some head gasket treatment in the engine and to get us through Mallory Park. Now the issue we've got on boost, it's lifted the cylinder head. Boost is getting into the oil gallery and to pull the passages, and it is forcing oil out of the engine into the catch tank, and it's forcing cooling out of the radiator into the overflow. Could argue it is designed to do, but not in the capacity that it is doing it in the space of time that it's doing it. So the engine is hurt. So we're going to drag it through Mallory, and then next week we'll get the cylinder head off and we'll do a head gasket that week. And then we are then back at round 6 of the UK British Drivers Act Series at Donington Park. And now I'd like the car to be on a bit of form for Donington, so I am keen to get the head gasket sorted for that. That is it on this video. So I'm going to do a separate video on travelling with race and track cars and trailers, and whether or not you need a car name, and my experience this week of travelling with a car name. So I would get that video out there for the public. So with that being said, I hope you've enjoyed our German adventure. It's been cracking. Hopefully we're going to do some European events next year, and it's I've got to tell and what car will we be doing it in. So that being said, we'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to go buy some Spicy Micra merch. Don't forget to go to Altec. We'll also buy some sexual merch as well. T-shirts dead comfy, and I finally got my straw hat I've been on for a year and a half, thanks to Altec Austria. That's Austria, not Australian. And of course the obvious YouTube stuff. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Bump up this video into the algorithm, and of course it's always really important to go tell your nan. See you in the next one.